It's always tempting just to batter straight through the main story of a game to find out how it all ends and experience the sweet satisfaction of kicking the bad guy's ass. But this approach could mean you miss some of its best moments. Side quests are where some of our favourite titles get to loosen up and really go wild, creating self-contained tales that can go off in all kinds of weird and wonderful directions. Here are just a few that you absolutely have to seek out next time you're playing. Best of all, you'll find all of these games on Xbox Game Pass, so subscribers can check out these amazing side quests at no extra cost.
Bethesda have been using the Elder Scrolls series to build bustling open worlds for years now, and each entry is absolutely packed with all kinds of fantastical diversions to seek out once you're done with all, the hunting dragons and thwarting demonic cult stuff. And it's in the side quests where these sword and sorcery RPGs really get to mix things up. For example, Oblivion's Whodunit mission lets you break away from the goody two-shoes life of the hero and have a little bit more murdery fun. The Dark Brotherhood has brought a bunch of high-value targets together for a party, providing you with the perfect chance to prove your skills as an assassin by bumping a few of them off. Plus, bonus points if you could do it without alerting the others, although just casting a frenzy spell and watching them tear each other apart does have a certain appeal. And the other quest you absolutely must make time for in Oblivion concerns a missing painter named Ryth, who lives in the small town of Shadenhall, I think. In A Brush with Death, you find yourself sucked into one of his masterworks, and you'll have to use turpentine to battle painted trolls and recover the magic brush to escape. It's an incredibly imaginative quest that totally transforms the look and feel of the game while you're playing it, exactly what we're looking for in these minor missions.
Over in Skyrim, A Night to Remember takes a page out of the Hangovers book as you try to retrace your steps after going on one of the most raucous benders Tamriel has ever seen. You eventually manage to put together a tale involving a jilted bride, a trashed temple, and a prize-winning goat, teaching you a valuable lesson about not being drawn into drinking contests with suspiciously named strangers. For more hard-boiled fantasy fun, you should also check out Blood on the Ice, a thrilling murder mystery where you have to figure out a Jack the Ripper-esque series of murders in the town of Windhelm. But if all that sounds a little dark and dreary, there's also The Book of Love, where you get to go around helping people out with their romantic problems. These range from your garden variety relationship woes like, "Ooh, I'm too nervous to talk to my crush," and "Ooh, my parents don't approve of my partner," all the way up to more severe issues like, "We're madly in love, but also quite dead." Still, mending broken hearts makes a nice change from hacking people to pieces, doesn't it?
Jetting off now to the Outer Worlds, there's a whole galaxy's worth of enticing side missions for you to explore. Of course, this particular galaxy is often a dark and deadly place, as you'll discover if you check out Why Call Them Back from Retirement. While the board claims to be providing a nice, tranquil residential area for its aging members, do a bit of snooping and you'll soon discover just how sinister the phrase early retirement plan can actually be. Turns out to kind of be like when your parents tell you your dog went to go live on a farm. And that's the thing about the Outer Worlds missions, there's always more than meets the eye. In the Chimerist Last Experiment, the Sublight Salvage and Shipping Corporation send you to assassinate a scientist who they claim is behind an alien invasion conspiracy. Ooh. But when you meet the good doctor, it turns out there's a whole lot more to the story, leaving you with a very tricky decision to make. On the lighter side of things, however, At Central gives you a chance to become a movie star by auditioning for an eccentric director named Maverick Johnston. Compared to the life and death stakes which a lot of the game's missions traffic in, the chance to goof off in front of camera makes a welcome change of pace.
Few series in the history of gaming have proven the medium's storytelling chops better than Mass Effect, partially because of how effectively each game used its side quests. As enthralling as the main story always was, the optional missions were often where you would really get underneath the skin of each character, raising the emotional stakes of your journey even higher. For example, in the first game's I Remember Me mission, you're asked to help a young woman who had been left traumatized by the same brutal Batarian raid which marked Shepard's own childhood. It's a tense quest in which one wrong move could end in tragedy, but successfully pulling her back from the brink makes for a really powerful moment, while also providing a window into Shepard's own story. And it's not just the protagonist who comes to life in the side quests. Mass Effect 2's loyalty missions were a great way to get to know its cast of characters better. Lair of the Shadow Broker sees you teaming up with Liara to track down the elusive broker, leading to a series of high-speed car chases, thrilling gunfights, and some exceptionally salty dialogue between our dynamic duo. On the other hand, Treason takes us to a much darker place as Charleyy is accused of betraying her people. The whole thing gives you a deeper look into the conflict between her people and the Geth, and it culminates in the sort of stomach-churning moral dilemma which the series specializes in. In the end, it's the little missions like these that make Mass Effect's galaxy feel so full of life.
Next up, we've got another sprawling RPG series courtesy of Bethesda. Oh, you know it already, it's Fallout. While you won't find any enchanting amulets or mystical spirits hiding out in these vast open worlds, the irradiated wastelands do harbour all sorts of fascinating characters, each dealing with their own unique problems. For example, Fallout 3's Oasis side mission features a recurring character named Harold who has recently turned into a tree. Standard. Sadly, his ant-like existence really isn't all it's cracked up to be. He's been rooted in place for years due to his mutation and would like you to put an end to the whole thing. But if you kill him, one of the only green and beautiful places left in the world will shrivel up and die, presenting you with another one of Fallout's signature moral conundrums. Of course, not everyone wants to spend their game time euthanizing a grumpy tree person, but Fallout 4 has a mission that revolves around the one thing we all seem to agree is pretty awesome: superheroes. In the Silver Shroud, you get to take up the mantle of a costumed hero, delivering swift and brutal justice to the people of Good Neighbor. But if you really want to see Fallout at its Mad Max-esque best, New Vegas's Come Fly With Me mission takes the cake. It involves the attempted space launch of a bunch of ghouls, one of whom is actually a very confused human. The whole thing seems pretty doomed from the start if you ask me, and whether you aspire to successfully launch the first mutants into orbit or hope to see a bunch of stuff go boom, I can guarantee you're not going to be disappointed.
Sliding back over to the fantasy side of things, the Dragon Age games also come with some incredible side missions. One of the heartwarming things about this kind of classic RPG is that the hero is always ready to lend a helping hand to anybody who asks. Although the solving problems side quest goes to show that that is not always the best idea. 3 young rogues are in need of your help after a deal gone wrong leaves them with some corpses in need of disposing. Worst of all, Dragon Age takes place in a time before wood chippers, so you'll have to think of something else. But if you're a righteous sort who would never be caught aiding and abetting such scoundrels, Dragon Age Inquisition's Sit in Judgement missions might be more your speed. You'll get to feel all high and mighty, doling out whatever punishment you see fit for assassins, traitors, and assorted undesirables. You can just reach for your broadsword in each case, but not only will this win you the disapproval of your peers, it'll also mean missing out on some of the more hilarious punishment options, like forcing the accused to become your court jester. Which is how all courtroom drama should end, if you ask me.
I'm going to finish off by getting a little bit sidetracked in another one of Xbox's flagship series, Fable. Thanks to its cartoonish style, Fable gets to push into even goofier territory than other fantasy RPGs. While you'll spend plenty of time battling evil wizards and whatnot, sometimes you'll just be trying to help out a farmer friend by setting their kid up with a nice girl. Isn't that nice? While the blind date is all set up to be a comic farce, it actually turns out to be a touching story about acceptance when you find out that a nice girl is the last thing on this particular farm boy's mind, if you catch my drift. Love Hurts is another romance-based mission which sees you doing a spot of grave digging to help a lovelorn soul resurrect his late wife. That's a sentence. Alternatively, you can use it as an opportunity to score an undead girlfriend for yourself. That's another sentence. Either way, you're going to be putting the romance back in necromancy. There are tons of other equally wacky side stories that we'd love to highlight, but one which really needs a shout out is Fable 3's The Game. This incredibly meta tale basically involves you being sucked into a Dungeons & Dragons style tabletop game where you'll encounter all the usual fantasy tropes like a princess in need of rescuing and an evil baron who could only be slayed with a weapon called the Scimitar of Baron Slaying. This mixture of genuine heart and self-aware humour has always been a key part of Fable's personality, and it shines through even better in the side quest's zany antics. And don't forget, we've got a brand new Fable game on the way, folks. So who knows what kind of strange stuff will be going down next in Albion.
While these suggestions should be enough to get you started, the point here really is that you should not limit yourself just to the beaten path. Just like in life, way more interesting things happen in video games when you take a wander down the road less travelled. Shout out your own favourite side missions in the comments, and don't forget to subscribe and ring the bell for more Xbox info. Bye.